He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the line. You have to be kidding me. Fireworks. And here you go.
Welcome in, everybody, to a special edition of High and Tight. My name is Cade Nissen, joined by the creator of High and Tight, Andrew Brown, for a special edition. Well, I should say a special edition every Monday, because Monday is the big day of the week. It is the rankings reveal coming to you live from YouTube. Hey, if you want to check it out earlier, though, and beat us to the punch, subscribe to Rockfin. They'll be out all morning on Rockfin. Obviously, it's Monday afternoon when you're seeing this, so everybody else can see it. But we appreciate all our subscribers. Be sure to give us a sub over there. We got a ton of stuff coming out early for all the subs. But here we are on YouTube. We're gonna get right to the punch. Class 1A. Not a ton of action last week, Andrew, but we've got stuff to talk about. We've got 3 new teams in the rankings this week, and we'll get right on into it, starting with 15 through 11 in Class 1A. And as you can see, yes, the debut here, Ankeny Christian, slotting in at number 15. And we got a little bit of movement here between 14 through 11, South Winneshiek, Alta Aurelia, Newell Fonda, and Northland. Not a ton of games played between those two, Newell Fonda and Alta Aurelia, both starting 0-2 and 0-1 respectively. So they will take a slight dip. But Andrew, we haven't even got a chance to talk about it yet. How about Ankeny Christian?
Yeah, this was impressive. And you know what? It's funny because 2 years ago, they had a really good senior class. We thought, man, could they be a team that comes back as strong as they were? I remember 17 straight wins for them 2 years ago. Last year, a little bit of a dip. And then, whoa, coming out here, I think this is a team that we can expect to be a perennial power going through. And there have already been some performances this in the week one that proves that, hey, they're on the right track to being just that.
Absolutely. Obviously, Eli Christensen punching out 18 Coon Rapids Baird Crusaders. Punching out 18 guys in a game, no matter who you're playing, is impressive, let alone against a team that was preseason number 5 in our Class 1A poll, preseason number 1 in the coaches poll. So obviously he came out, made a statement. Ankeny Christian, excuse me, slotting in at number 15. Let's get into the top 10. We're gonna waste no time. We're gonna get you guys right to it, where we have 2 other teams making their debut here. Starting first, of course, with Coon Rapids Baird. A 1-2 week. Andrew, not panic mode. Obviously, you split the doubleheader with Logan Magnolia. You run into a horse and Eli Christensen and Ankeny Christian. You're not panicking on Coon Rapids Baird.
No, right now, and plus, you're getting in the mix where all these other sports are wrapping up from the spring.
Yes.
You know, there are undoubtedly guys that were there. Obviously, state track being a big component of that. But yeah, I think with Coon Rapids Bayard, honestly, this is one of those that we'll see them make a big surge coming up this week. I mean, they've got a good test for it, but certainly, yeah, it's we see teams all the time start and get a little struck in the first week of the season doesn't really mean anything, and especially considering that when it comes to postseason, they can make a strong run there too. So again, there is no panic whatsoever. If you're a fan, if you're a player, obviously your coach, no panic right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually ran into Cal Hayden today. He was reffing the 7-on-7 event I was at. I talked to him. He said 4 winnable games this week and a big one Thursday on the
Yes.
road against Kemper Catholic. I'm gonna be really considering going there. That one's gonna be a ton of fun. You want a perfect opportunity to get right back on track and jump in these rankings. There's your chance, Coon Rapids Baird. They're looking at that. Let's move on though. 6 and 7 here, St. Ansgar and Galen Catholic. I'm gonna get those guys out of the way. No games
Yeah.
played. They kind of benefit from teams falling. They get a slot up. Obviously, once we see them play, we'll get to know more for sure. But the story here, Wapsie Valley, Akron Westfield. Wapsie Valley, they were my team of the week. I was impressed. Every time I was punching in scores this week, Wapsie Valley was racking up wins. So did Akron Westfield going 2-0. Andrew, what'd you like from Wapsie Valley or Akron Westfield or both of them?
Well, Wapsie Valley, man, the fact that they go and defeat a 4A opponent is something special. You jump quite a bit of classes. You jump all the whole spectrum to win that. So it does mean a lot. It is something that has to be looked at when you go through and look at the body of work later in the season. Wapsie Valley, man, I think they're a team that's not only right to be in the rankings now, they're on a fast track to get up there towards the top end. And Akron Westfield, I'll give you this here, Kate. They're my alma mater, man, and I am very excited to see them, and Coach Gordy Johnson and everybody that makes up that staff do a great job. And honestly, 30 to 4 in their scoring efforts is big, right? And it shows the diversity. They can score big and they can keep teams low. And honestly, when you got teams in your conference like Remsen St. Mary's, like Galen Catholic, you're going to have to provide that and more, maybe on a nightly basis. You might have to win a game 11-10 every day out of the week. So with that, yeah, I think Akron Westfield, and Wapsie Valley are the right teams to be in there, right two teams to be in there new, along with Ankeny Christian. So yeah, I think they're going to do absolutely phenomenal this year.
Absolutely. And as we learn more about Class 1A, Andrew, we did have a top 5 team fall, obviously, in Coon Rapids Bayard. Someone
Yeah.
has to take their spot, and that is the Don Bosco Dons, starting 2-1 on the year. Two really close wins against Albernet and Sumner Fredericksburg. Two teams
Yep.
maybe to keep note in Class 1A. They lose a high-scoring thriller to Burlington Notre Dame. It was their third game of the week. Pitching is always tough once you get in those weekend tournaments. But they lose a high scoring one there. Don Bosco, any quick thoughts here?
They lost a little bit, but certainly the guys that they've got coming back have enough experience with that. Certainly, one thing to note, one thing to really look at this team about is they have been very good on the road as of late. They've been very good at taking teams down on the road. So we know that they're good at home, know that they're good on the road. And so this is a team that I think has the fast track to a number one spot. I mean, Remsen, all they have to do is kind of fall a little bit. Burlington Notre Dame as well. And hey, the way things go, you could vault up there pretty easily. So I think if a team could vault up 5 spots, it could very well be Don Bosco.
Absolutely. Moving one spot ahead of them is Linville Solely. They do not move at all. They win their one game of the week, 13-0 over Collins Maxwell. Not a ton to talk about here, Andrew, so I won't even have to defer to you. I'll give this one off. Fresh new look for the Hawks, though. I dig it. I really, really liked it.
Baby Blues, I love that.
Moving on to number 3 in Class 1A, where we do have a little bit of talk about here. Newman Catholic. They lose a thriller, obviously, opening night against Van Meter. Two Titans in their respective classes. They respond back, 3 straight wins. A lot to like here at Newman Catholic, obviously.
Well, yeah, what Newman Catholic has, I mean, they're still one of the top teams. They will be the top team, one of the top teams anyway. I think they've got a lot going for them. And honestly, with guys like Jocelyn, Keston, excuse me, I mean, you still got big names coming in there. Not the same names that we've heard before plenty of times, Douglas Taylor, Max Bird, and company. But hey, this is still going to be a team that's going to come out there and absolutely load. And we've had a number of good sophomores from last year's, some sophomores to look at coming into this year. So there's if you're a fan of Newman Catholic, I think at this point you still know you're one of the top dogs in the class.
Absolutely. And going to the top dogs, we'll start at number 2. No change yet. We will keep our number 1 in Class 1A for another week. But Burlington Notre Dame, I mean, they did everything you asked. Open our first game of the year. How about a top 5 win over Don Bosco? 16-10, really high scoring affair. Nice resume builder,
Yep.
Andrew, and a lot to look forward to. But moving on to number 1, then quickly, Remsen St. Mary's took care of business. They got a big week ahead of them. I'm sorry. The graphic actually says number 2 here. They are number 1. That is a typo, so don't take too much into that. Remsen St. Mary's number 1. Ignore my typo. It is late on Sunday. My brain's not working. But Remsen St. Mary's, a big week ahead of them. Our ranker took note, including a big one against Akron Westfield. Remsen St. Mary's, obviously, 2 quick games: a win over Cherokee Washington, win over Newell Fonda. Andrew, what do you like about Remsen St. Mary's? Obviously, a lot to like.
Yeah, one of the things, Remsen St. Mary's early on, I know it's early, so I'm not going to make too much judgment, but watching some video that I've caught from them, they're looking good, man. I love how they play, and yes, that game against Akron Westfield looming on up is going to be big, and it's one that historically has been owned by Remsen St. Mary's, and this will be something that I think honestly we could see a potential clash postseason wise. We've seen it before. We could see it again here. I think that this is going to be a calendar circling game to watch, but certainly this is the week I feel that Remsen St. Mary's really puts on that test and say, hey, are we number one? Are we going to stay number one? Because I think if you get through this week, it's going to be pretty smooth sailing for the most part the rest of the way.
Absolutely. Well, Class 1A was a class we haven't learned a lot about yet, Andrew. I think we're just going to start to learn more and more. Class 1A fans, we are excited to have you. Hop on over, watch the 2A, 3A, 4A video. As Andrew and I have said time and time again, become an Iowa high school baseball fan this summer. But hey, Class 1A fans, Andrew and I will catch you next Monday.